Hi, I'm Kim Matone, co-founder of Matone Counseling and Testing, and we're here with Matone Counseling and Testing's Raindrops on Roses podcast. Today we have Kate Weaver, who is the executive director of NAMI Charlotte, and NAMI stands for the National Alliance for Mental Illness. And first, I just want to welcome you.
Thank you.
And today, you just told me marked the 1 year anniversary of your Navigator tool,
Yes.
which we will get into a little bit later on what that is and what that does,
Right.
and who it's reaching, which is really powerful. So first, I want to know your why. Out of the paths you could have taken, why NAMI Charlotte? I did a little research on you. I went on your LinkedIn, and you were in sales with Procter and Gamble. So tell me, kind of, what is your why?
Well, I think that if you take a thread through my career path, I've always been really interested in connection. I mean, I've distilled it down to one word. And I loved sales because of that. And then I moved to Charlotte and had 3 kids, and my career did not align. I didn't want to travel all the time. And so I loved photography. So I started my own photography business.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And I realized pretty quickly, do not ask me to photograph a building, because I have no interest in that, because I wanted to be with people and that connection that happens between photographer and client. So I loved it, had a great career for 20 years. And I during the pandemic, I thought, I feel like it's the time to put a bow on this and celebrate 20 years of doing it. And so I closed my business at the end of 2021 with the idea of retiring and volunteering. And I have a family history with mental illness. My uncle died by suicide many years ago. And growing up, we were always told that he died in a car accident. And so the way that the shame and stigma surrounding talking about what really happens, my mother told me the truth a couple of years before she died. And so as I spool back through history and realize all the ways that secret impacted our family was first just sad.
Yes.
Because we never were able to celebrate him. Nobody ever talked about him.
Right.
And I never knew why. And so that was part of it. I also have a daughter. I have 3 children. My oldest daughter has suffered from severe anxiety her entire life. And we had a really hard time finding resources for her as she was growing up. She continued to struggle through college. And post-college, she started an Instagram account just for her own, just as a release. And she would post 1 cartoon every day for a year. And it was mostly about mental health. And she was really open about it. And one day she posted a cartoon about the fact that she had panic attacks. And that went viral. And so she became an Instagram influencer. She was able to quit her job and to simply focus on this, which led to a book deal with Random House. And so she has published a memoir of anxiety.
Oh, wow.
And she was so open about her story. I thought, if she can do this with the entire world and I learned things when I read her book about college, what happened with her in college. So I thought, this is so powerful. And she's got this incredible community that feels like they're not alone.
Yes.
And so I thought, I want to volunteer somehow in the mental health field. And NAMI, as a national organization, was the clear choice. It was the most robust, largest, oldest, had the most programming. But the Charlotte affiliate had been here for 30 years, but that whole time was just a volunteer organization. So they were relatively small, and honestly, is only as good as their best volunteer at any given time. And so at the time, I didn't realize that at all. I just started volunteering, and I trained to teach the signature class, which is called Family to Family. And that class is for caregivers. And I taught that toward the end of 2022. And that was a pretty powerful, life-changing experience. We had 20 people in our class, and we still get together. I mean, that there's something incredibly healing about being in a space where you can talk about what's been going on in your family and share that with other people and realize some people are struggling more than you, some people less, but we're all having the same feelings about it.
Yeah.
And so then I trained to be a support group facilitator. And to this day, I run a family support group, and I think I always will. I really enjoy being in that space with people and having the ability to give back. My daughter is so healthy now that I love being able to share that story of hope.
Yeah.
As well.
That's great.
So one thing led to another, and here I am working full time.
Yeah.
But I mean, the universe starts knocking, and if you don't listen, it just knocks louder.
I agree.
So it was pounding at the door, and I had to open it.
Yeah, I've shared with you some of my own personal story, and back in the 90s, like, we didn't talk about that, and it's so wonderful that this new generation, they feel empowered to be able to go to therapy and talk about it out loud. And it's been very difficult for me because for so many years it was kind of taboo. Anyway, it's nice to hear a similar story too, that, because my family has had, there's been history of mental illness going way back. And I just found out some things just within this past year after being open with my story and talking to my mother about some things in our history. And it was like, oh my goodness, but yeah.
It's fascinating too that it's so difficult to know 2 generations back. I know my great grandmother was institutionalized because she had a nervous breakdown.
Right.
What does that mean?
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
And she could have been perfectly healthy and had a relative. You know what I mean? There's just so many different potential reasons that could happen, and it would have been so nice to understand.
Yes. And just the history of, being institutionalized. I mean, there were horrific places that people went, and thankfully they're starting to change that. Okay, well, I want to know, like, in your experience, why is finding mental health support often overwhelming to individuals?
Well, I think, first of all, the system is so fragmented and broken in many ways. Additionally, people aren't talking about it at the bus stop. And so there's so many reasons people don't get the support they need, even not even understanding that there's something wrong, that it's always been this way. And helping people understand how to name something, whether it's within themselves or their loved one, and then what to do next. And that is not clear, which is why we launched the Navigator. I wish every city in America had a tool that would help people connect to resources.
Yeah. What was the real inspiration around it? Was it just simply that Charlotte was lacking in that resource?
No. Okay, a couple things happened. First of all, NAMI has 3 buckets or mission buckets. One would be awareness, one is advocacy, and one is education. We decided that connection should be the 4th tenet. We're the only NAMI in the country to move in this direction, but we're hoping others will follow us. So we were thinking about, we had a helpline, but it was staffed by a volunteer, which is great. But our list of providers was just a list that she had kind of put together over time.
Right.
And I think that's so common with so many professionals, regardless of the industry, that we have our whisper network of people we know and trust give us these names. And so as we're thinking about that problem, Tom and Sylvia Bryden came to us soon after their daughter Kate died by suicide in February of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom was really interested in finding a way to increase access to care. And I thought, yes, let's do it. And it was a leap of faith and definitely a project that we had no idea how big it would become or quite frankly how expensive it would be. But I was fortunate to have a board of directors that were risk tolerant and believed that we could do this. So we searched the country looking for another city that was helping their citizens navigate. And we found that the Grant Halliburton Foundation in Dallas, Texas had launched a Navigator in 2019. And it has been very successful. And they have all sorts of metrics. Something like 70% of the people who use the Navigator make an appointment. 90% of the people who use the Navigator find it really helpful. And so with those statistics, along with the robust technology that who knows how many millions of dollars they spent developing the database and the way that search engine worked. But we called them and said, we would love to learn from you. And they said, we can't believe you're calling us because we're looking for an expansion city.
Oh, that's great.
And so it just aligned perfectly. And we got some grant funding, and it took about a year for us to clone their system. And we still work very closely with them, as now we're doing a major upgrade this summer to incorporate more of an AI component, which will always be in the background. Human facing first is always our priority.
Right.
But instead of currently, you can go on the website and search by typing in your age range, your zip code, and your diagnosis. And you can add 11 additional filters, but you have to hand add those. So whether you're looking for a therapist that speaks Spanish or takes Medicaid or specializes in OCD, you add all those things. By September, the website will have a natural language model. And so you will just go and say, I'm suffering, and it will continue to ask you questions and help you until those resources, and then it'll find the resources for you. So we're really excited.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge leap forward for us. And that's what we're working on right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've done a great job of fundraising.
We have.
Yes.
We have.
You all have.
Yeah, we all
But
have.
I have seen you get some really good acknowledgments for that. So,
Well,
I
thank you.
think that's really wonderful, and I'm glad that you've really been able to step up and do that for the city of Charlotte.
I would say that when I looked at what the NAMI looked like here in 2022, and then I thought, well, what do other cities around the country, what do those NAMIs look like? So when I studied other cities of 1 million plus people, they all had a budget of over $1 million, a staff, and a location. And so I knew that those were my 3 goals for the first 2 years, is to achieve those things, because I knew that we needed that amount of infrastructure to support a city our size, which actually I think we could go on forever and we'll never be able to serve everybody that we want to.
Yeah.
It's an endless quest.
Yeah. We have such a waiting list just for our psychological testing, and so there's just such a need. Tell me maybe some real world scenarios of examples that have happened through the Navigator.
Yeah, so one of the magical parts of the Navigator is that we have volunteers who are trained navigators, and they answer our call line. And their job is to listen to the person, ask the right questions to get enough information for us to then create an email back to the person. And so those conversations can last anywhere from 10 minutes to over an hour. We encourage the navigators to stay on the line and listen, because oftentimes we can't solve the problem, but we can certainly let the person know they're not alone.
Right.
So we had a caller, and she was very isolated. She was in an abusive relationship. She wasn't able to work. She was at home with her 2 children, and she had lost her mother to suicide within the last 6 months. And she was having feelings of suicidal ideation. And she was desperate because she didn't want to act on those feelings
Mhm.
because of her children. But at the same time, she felt stuck and didn't have a way forward.
Right.
And so we actually sent her to Mental Health America because they, at the time, were doing free counseling.
Mhm.
We encouraged her to attend our support group for suicide loss survivors. And we just encouraged her to come by the resource center and connect with other people. And we always call people back after a week or two
Mhm.
and say, we gave you these resources. Were you able to make an appointment? Did you go to the support group? What did you think?
Mhm. So
And
follow up.
if they haven't made an appointment, we will provide additional resources.
Mhm.
So when we called her back, she said she had gone to counseling, she had gone to the support group, and she was feeling better. She was sleeping 8 hours a night.
Mhm.
And we love the quote that she said that she can laugh with her kids again.
Yeah.
And I believe we kept her out of the hospital. And I know she's not the only one.
Sure. Oh, yeah. There's so many stories that you don't hear, I'm sure.
We
Yeah.
had just last week, one of our navigators, Jim Love. Do you know Jim Love?
No, I don't know.
Gosh, he's amazing.
Okay.
He volunteers as a navigator, but he's also worked in sports broadcasting for his career, so he's a really great presence. And Spectrum News did a story on Jim as a hometown hero because he's doing this work. Well, 9:01 the next day, we got 5 calls.
Mhm.
And they all said, I'm calling because I saw Jim last night. I'm in the same situation. And one caller said, I don't live in Charlotte, but if you can help me find resources, I will move to Charlotte.
Mhm. Oh my gosh.
I know.
Gonna like change
mean,
their whole, yes.
Well,
the whole-
you know, parents
yeah.
can be so desperate.
Yeah.
And so actually I saw Jim today, and Jim is connecting with that dad again to give him support.
Mhm.
So that our navigators also go
Yeah.
beyond.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, so this has been the 1 year mark,
Mhm.
and you have, it sounds like you have some new things going. You have bilingual support line,
Mhm.
a resource center.
Yeah.
Have we named pretty much
Well,
all
let me
of
tell
them?
you about the
Okay.
bilingual. I've got so much.
Yeah.
I could be here for
Go ahead.
5 hours.
That's
Sorry.
fine.
So we launched the Spanish version of the Navigator site in November of 2025. So it's relatively new. And we also hired a bilingual master's level clinical social worker to join our staff to help us field all the calls from the community that needed to get help in Spanish. And it was pretty slow going because we had no awareness. So I would say November, December through the beginning of this year, about 100 people a month would visit the Spanish website.
Mhm.
And we got a grant from Alliance Health. And
Mhm.
part of the grant was to do an awareness campaign for an underserved community. And so we decided to do an awareness campaign in May, Mental Health Awareness Month, for the Latino community.
Mhm.
And so we had billboards last month
Mhm.
all over Charlotte.
I saw some.
You
of them.
did?
Yeah,
I love
some.
it.
Yeah.
But many of them were in Spanish. And to back up, one of the things we learned based on studying the statistics from the website is when people went to the English site, by and large, they would go straight to resource, finding a therapist, like going to find a resource. In the Spanish site, most of the people went to learning about mental health. So they were like, what is depression?
Yeah.
I'm not even ready to look for a therapist.
Right.
So we thought, all right, we just have to raise the level of awareness. Like, let's talk. So that became the catchphrase, let's talk.
Mhm.
And so anyway, in April, 138 people went to the Spanish website.
Mhm.
In May, we just got the numbers. Today's June 2nd, 2,500 people went. 2,500 people, which shows us that when people know there's a place to go for help, they will take advantage of it.
Yes. Yeah.
And that is beautiful.
Yes, it is. And that population really just needs so much help. I mean, we all need help.
Mhm.
It's one thing about mental illness or mental health struggles, it just doesn't discriminate across the board. Doesn't discriminate. Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. I was reading an article with Rebecca Peacock, who is the executive director of Sante, which is critical care response for mental health. And so they are going out on calls all the time
Mhm.
for critical situations. And in the article, they talked about the 2 zip codes that had the most calls:
Mm-hmm.
Myers Park
Mm-hmm.
and Beatties Ford.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
the most wealthy part of Charlotte and the most underserved part of Charlotte.
Yes.
Those were the 2 top zip codes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that is just a blatant example of
Yes.
how mental health does not discriminate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So we just, yeah, I think about that and how we can. One thing with Matone counseling is one of our main values has been accessibility. And we've been just really deliberate about accepting most insurances, Medicaid and Medicare.
Amazing.
But
one of the few. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really hard. And the bulk of people who are calling us are either uninsured or on Medicaid, over 50%. So we know that population is really struggling.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you asked me about the resource center. So we just determined that having that human connection needed to be pervasive in everything we do. And so having a location was a goal. And when we opened it, we made a very deliberate decision to make it a resource center, not an office. Because most NAMIs have an office. And this space only has one office that has a door. And we use that for navigator calls. So people can walk in, and we always have a navigator on staff. They can go in and sit down and share what's going on. We will provide resources. But our goal is to get this place busy 7 days a week. And we just achieved that goal because we just started. The trans community is hosting a support group on Sundays.
Oh, wonderful.
So we have support groups. We do volunteer trainings. We have board meetings there. Yoga once a month.
I saw that.
De-stress Saturdays. So that's been a really cool development. This is not a NAMI program, but we recognize if we just say, hey, everybody, let's come to the resource center. We're going to talk about mental health. We'd have like 2 people come, you know? Yeah. So we started this thing called De-stress Saturday, and it's once a month on Saturday afternoon. And we have all these vendors come in to do free programming. And so any given Saturday, you might see origami making, journaling, watercolor, kickboxing was a couple months ago, chair massage. So there are all these activities. Yeah. And we started in December. We had about 30 people come. And then we did it in Davidson the next month. We had 75 people come. So we know, and it's a beautiful mix of young, old, very, very diverse crowd. And they all stay the whole time.
That's great.
And so it's a safe space to talk about mental health, but we're not hitting you over the head.
Right. Safe space, self-care.
Exactly. They even had a laugh therapist.
Oh, yes.
I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Yeah. There's DBT, which is a dialectical behavioral therapy that I use. And one of the techniques in that is a half smile. They call it the half smile. And if you just, I mean, it's a very temporary solution to a problem, you know, but if you just give a half smile, it's very difficult to not have a feeling of feeling more light, you know, and a little happier, you know. Yes. And so like the laughter just, it's been proven to work.
Well, they loved it. I wasn't there.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Very good feedback from the laugh therapy.
Funny. All right. So let me just think, like, tell me what gives you hope about the future of Charlotte?
Oh, that's such a good question. I find hope in people and connection. And I think what's been really amazing is first of all, the stigma around mental health, as you mentioned, especially with the younger generation, has gone down. But I also think it's gone down across the community. And we're able to walk into businesses and say, do you want to partner with us?
Mhm.
And they'll proudly say yes, instead
Mhm.
of, well, I'm not sure
Right.
I really want to be part of a mental health organization.
Right.
So we've been really embraced by the community, and that gives me hope. And also, today we had this luncheon to celebrate the 1 year anniversary launch of the
Mhm.
Navigator program. And just being in a room with 30 people when that room would have been empty 2 years ago
Mhm.
or even a year ago. And just to see the groundswell of so many people in our community volunteering to make this place safer, healthier, and more compassionate.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is. And so this podcast, I named it Raindrops on Roses,
Mhm.
because of
Which I
my
love.
favorite things
Yeah.
from Sound of Music.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What has caught me off guard is that some of the younger generation has never seen. But yeah, but I'm glad that you have seen it.
Yeah.
Is there a movie or a song that inspires you?
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, there is actually. I don't have you heard of the Avett Brothers?
No.
They're a band. They're out of Concord. They're relatively close. Anyway, they have this song called "No Hard Feelings," and it's all about at the end of your life, you want to be able to look back and not have any hard feelings against
Mhm.
anyone, and how it's important to live the fullest. And that's, I think, my philosophy.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, that's wonderful. All right.
Got to listen to it.
Okay.
Check out the Avett Brothers.
I will. Yeah, I will definitely look at that. All right. Is there anything else that we didn't cover that you would like to share?
Well, I think I should share what NAMI does.
Okay.
So we have, under the awareness umbrella, we have about an hour-long presentation about mental wellness, and we take that presentation and tweak it to an audience. So we have a version for the workplace called Stigma Free Workplace, a version for faith communities, and then a version for high school kids called Ending the Silence, which I think is our most important program. And so the presentation goes through everything from what's the difference between depression and sadness to what do these diagnoses mean, all the way to self-care and what to do if you're worried about hurting yourself or if you're worried about someone else. And so we train volunteers. All of our programming is executed by volunteers, and they go out into the community and make these presentations.
And it's a pretty vigorous training.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of the things NAMI does, they've been developed at the national level, and they're all evidence-based.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you go to an Ending the Silence in Charlotte, it would be the same as in Chicago, which is wonderful for young volunteers because oftentimes we'll have college kids train here, then they'll go home for the summer. Well, they can just plug into their NAMI there.
That's great.
And start right up with their volunteering.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty cool program. We're planning a youth mental health summit in the fall for high school kids. We're also planning a summit for the construction industry. And the construction industry has the highest rate of suicide of any industry. So we're hoping to get all the leaders from all the construction companies together, talk about mental health in the workplace. So that's under awareness. Education, we have these classes that are free for the community, for peers, and for family members. And then support is huge. We started out a couple years ago with 2 support groups. Now we have 16. And so we are growing organically when people come to us and say, hey, my community needs support. I want to be a support group leader. We said, great, let's find you a partner from your community. We'll send you to the training, which is 16 hours on Zoom. It's rigorous, but we want them to be super prepared. And so we have support groups for men only, women only, young adults, the LGBTQ plus community, the trans community, neurodivergent community. I think we're about to start a new one for widowers, OCD.
Oh, wow.
So it's really drilling down into different populations that are vulnerable And we know that people trust people from their same community.
Mhm.
So that's why I think it's growing so fast.
Yeah. Yes, I love that. I love that.
So I think that's it.
Yeah,
I'm sure we do.
That's
We
a
do
lot.
a million other things,
that's
but
a lot.
those are the
And
biggies.
I love how you're partnering with the schools that like you're getting those programs in the schools
Yes.
in at the high school level, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
High schools, colleges. Well, the cool thing about Ending the Silence is there's a version for the kids, there's a version for parents, and then one for staff. And so, for example,
Perfect.
Myers Park High School has
Right.
lost several kids to suicide. We were able to go in this spring and do programming. And one of the outcomes was the boys who were friends with the young man who died by suicide were energized to start this t-shirt fundraising thing, and then they donated the money to us. So I think it was beautiful. Not only did they get the information, but they got a tangible way to do something,
give back,
Yeah.
and somehow
process.
work out their grief.
Yes.
I love that. Love that.
Yeah.
That you all are giving that opportunity for these young people to process through that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
none of
And
this
the parents,
is easy.
no, it's not.
It's really heavy.
It is heavy. So
Yeah.
how do you keep how do you keep a smile on your face? You see me like I get all teary eyed and
Oh, I do
keep
too.
how
I
do you
do
keep a
too.
smile on your face?
Oh
at
my
the end of the
gosh.
day?
Because I know every day we're helping people.
Yeah.
Every day we're helping people.
Yeah.
And that keeps me going. And just to see the growth and really just watching, like today at the lunch, just seeing all the volunteers hugging each other, like they've formed a community.
Yes.
And so just to see that happening all over is so cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So
yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being my guest today and taking time out of your busy schedule.
Well,
Thanks a
I
lot.
appreciate being invited because, as you might know, I could talk about this for a long time. And I just think it's really important. And the more awareness we can get, the better.
Yes, and we'll get it out there.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.